The crash in the red sky. The sky turned red like fire. A large spaceship was falling fast. Smoke poured from its engines. It twisted as it dropped through the clouds, crashing toward the ground of a strange planet. Inside the ship, a human man named Ethan was trying to control the damage. He was not a pilot. He was an engineer. His job was to fix machines, not crash in them. "System failing," the computer warned. "Impact in 30 seconds, Ethan shouted. "Brace yourself." Next to him sat a female alien. Her name was Lyra. She had silver blue skin, sharp glowing eyes, and markings on her arms that showed she was a warrior. She didn't answer Ethan. She was already gripping the seat tightly, her eyes locked on the front screen. The ship shook hard. Everything went black. Boom. The ship smashed into the ground, trees snapped, fire spread, metal cracked. Silence followed. Ethan opened his eyes slowly. His head hurt. Blood dripped from a cut near his eyebrow. Everything around him was broken, burning. Wires, sparks, twisted steel. He unbuckled his belt and fell to the side. Pain shot through his ribs. "Lyra?" he called out. There was no answer. He looked toward the seat next to him. Lyra was still there, not moving. "Hey, wake up." He crawled over and touched her arm. Her skin was cold, but not dead cold. Her eyes blinked slowly. Then suddenly she grabbed his wrist and twisted it. "I said, don't touch me," she hissed. "Ow, easy. I was checking if you were alive." She looked around quickly, taking in the ruined ship. "Where are we?" Ethan looked out through a broken part of the wall. Outside was a jungle, bright red trees, glowing plants, and strange flying creatures in the distance. "Somewhere very bad," he said. Lyra pulled herself out of the wreck. She moved slowly but with power. Her warrior body was built to survive. Ethan followed her out. The air outside was thick and warm. The sky above was red and cloudy. The jungle around them felt wrong. Ethan looked around. No signal. No backup. No way home. Lyra didn't answer. She was already searching the ship wreckage for supplies. They gathered what little they could. Water packs, a small med kit, and a broken blade Lyra found. As they moved, they heard a distant roar from the forest. Ethan paused. "What was that?" Lyra replied. "Something hunting." Night came fast. The sky turned black. The red trees glowed in the dark, like they were alive. Insects buzzed with strange sounds. The wind whistled in a way that sounded like whispers. Ethan and Lyra made a small fire near the wreck. It wasn't much, but it gave a little warmth and light. "I need to fix something that sends a signal," Ethan said. "Anything, even a weak one." Lyra sat nearby, sharpening her broken blade with a rock. "Even if you do, no one may hear it." "You always this hopeful?" Ethan asked. "I don't believe in hope," she replied. Later that night, as Ethan worked on a broken transmitter, Lyra stood up suddenly. She looked toward the forest. "What is it?" Ethan asked. She didn't answer. He stood up and followed her gaze between the trees. Something moved. Two glowing yellow eyes watched them from the shadows. Not blinking. Not afraid. Ethan felt cold sweat on his back. "Is it alive?" Lyra stepped forward, blade in hand. "Yes, but it's not a beast, it's something else." The eyes blinked once, then disappeared. They didn't sleep much that night. Every time Ethan closed his eyes, he saw those yellow eyes staring at him. Lyra didn't sleep at all. She kept watch the whole night, silent like a statue. When morning came, the fire was almost dead. "We move at first light," Lyra said. "Where?" Ethan asked. "Up. I saw a cliffside while we crashed. Higher ground is safer." He nodded. "And the eyes? They'll follow. But we'll be ready." As they left the wreck and entered the strange jungle, one thing became clear. This planet was not just dangerous, it was watching them. The forest. That watches, the jungle was too quiet. Ethan and Lyra walked slowly under the tall red trees. The bike. Air was thick like smoke. Strange flowers opened as they passed, as if they were watching too. Even the wind didn't feel normal. It moved in circles, whispering through the leaves like a warning. Ethan whispered, "I don't like this place." Lyra didn't answer. Her blade was in her hand. Her sharp alien eyes scanned everything. A sudden rustle. They both stopped. Lyra raised her blade. Ethan held up the small scanner he fixed from the ship's broken parts. It beeped, slow at first, then faster. "Something's moving," Ethan said. "Above us," Lyra replied. They looked up. Something dark and thin crawled across a branch. Fast, too fast. It vanished before they could see it clearly. Lyra stepped in front of Ethan. "We're being tested." "Tested?" he asked. "Yes," she said. "Like prey." They found an old path made of stone, half buried in moss. The stones were marked with alien symbols glowing faintly, soft blue lights in the dim jungle. Ethan knelt and touched one. "These are not natural. Someone lived here." Lyra stared at them. "I've seen these before, in war zones. These are warning signs." "Warning for what?" She looked at the trees. "For those who don't listen." They kept walking. The jungle grew stranger with each step. The trees bent toward the path. Vines moved slowly, like snakes stretching in their sleep. Insects buzzed, without wings. Large red fruits pulsed like hearts. Ethan stopped. "I think the forest is alive. Not just alive, aware," Lyra agreed. "It watches." Then she pointed ahead. There. In the distance stood a stone structure, half a wall covered in green moss. At its center was a statue, a tall, thin figure with no face, arms outstretched, eyes missing. It looked like the thing that had watched them. "Is that a god?" Ethan asked. "No," Lyra said quietly. "It's a guardian." They stepped closer. Suddenly the ground cracked. The ground gave way beneath them. They fell, sliding down a deep, dark tunnel of roots and stone. They landed hard in an underground chamber. Ethan coughed. "Still alive?" Lyra grunted. "Barely." As they stood up, lights flickered around the chamber. Blue glowing stones lit up in the walls, revealing strange carvings and old technology. "This place is ancient," Ethan said. Lyra touched a carving. "This was not built by my people. Or yours." On the wall, a drawing showed two figures, one human, one alien, facing a shadow with many eyes. It looked like the Watchers. "This isn't the first time strangers landed here," Ethan whispered. As they explored the chamber, a sharp clicking sound echoed in the dark. Click, click, click. Lyra turned fast, her blade ready. From the shadows, a figure stepped forward. It was tall, thin, and its skin looked like bark. Its face was smooth, no eyes, no mouth. Another stepped out behind it, then another. 3 Watchers. They didn't speak. They didn't move. They just stared. Ethan stepped back. "Are they real?" Lyra didn't answer. She was frozen. The Watchers raised one hand, each at the same time, pointing directly at Ethan. Then they vanished into the stone. Gone. The chamber fell silent again. Lyra grabbed Ethan's arm. "We leave. Now." They climbed out using broken roots and stone steps, hearts pounding. Back in the jungle, the red sky had begun to dim. Night was coming again, and they were no longer alone. They made camp in a hollow tree trunk surrounded by stone. Ethan lit a small fire. Lyra sat close, watching the forest. "They didn't attack," Ethan said. "Why?" "They were not sent to kill," Lyra said. "They were sent to judge." Ethan frowned. "Judge what?" Lyra looked at the flames. "Us." Ethan went quiet. He looked up at the sky. No stars, just darkness pressing down. "Do you think anyone got our signal?" Lyra didn't reply right. "Away." Then she said, "I don't know. But if they did, they better come soon." The jungle rustled. Ethan held his breath. This planet wasn't just dangerous. It had rules, and it had eyes, watching every move. Trapped together, forced to trust. The rain came without warning. Thick drops fell from the red sky, splashing into the jungle like stones. Ethan and Lyra rushed through the trees, trying to find cover. The ground was slippery. The wind howled like something alive. "This storm isn't normal," Ethan shouted over the noise. "It's not a storm," Lyra replied, her voice low. "It's the planet's warning. We stayed too long." They found a rocky slope leading into a canyon. A narrow trail cut down into it, barely wide enough for one person. Ethan looked down, unsure. "Are you sure that's safe?" "No," Lyra said. "But we have no choice." They started climbing down, one step at a time. Halfway down, the ground gave way. The earth cracked beneath their feet. The trail vanished. Both of them slipped. They fell fast and hard into the darkness below. Thud. Ethan hit the stone floor and rolled onto his side, coughing. He sat up slowly, groaning. His wrist hurt. His clothes were soaked. "Lyra?" he called. Out. No answer. He looked around. The place was a deep underground cave. The walls glowed faintly with blue light from strange plants. "Lyra," he shouted again. Then from behind a fallen rock. Movement. Lyra pulled herself up, holding her side. "I'm here," she said, her voice tight with pain. She limped toward him. Blood ran from a cut on her leg. Her blade was gone. "We need to get out of here," she said. "Yeah," Ethan said. "But how?" They searched the cave together. The walls were smooth, almost like metal, but covered in vines. The path behind them was too steep to climb. "We're trapped," Ethan said. "For now," Lyra replied. "We look for another way." They found a tunnel at the far end, long, narrow, and dark. The air was cold. Every step echoed. Ethan stayed close to Lyra, holding a sharp rock in one hand like a weapon. His scanner was broken again. As they walked, they passed strange carvings on the walls, ancient drawings. One showed a creature with many eyes standing over two figures, one human, one alien. Again, the same message. "This is a cycle," Lyra said. "Others came here before. They were also hunted." "But why?" Ethan asked. "Why bring us here? To judge us? To test us?" Lyra didn't answer. The tunnel opened into a large chamber. At the center stood a tall machine, round, silent, glowing slightly. Dust covered most of it, but some parts still blinked with light. Ethan's eyes widened. "This is alien tech. Old but alive." Lyra stepped back. "Be careful." Ethan approached the machine and touched the side panel. It lit up under his hand. A calm, robotic voice spoke. "Memory Station 3 activated." A hologram flickered. To life. It showed a battlefield, humans and aliens fighting together, side by side. Then it changed to show a peaceful city. Children, families, and then the Watchers. Tall, faceless. Watching silently. The city turned to fire. The sky turned red. The memory ended. Ethan stepped back, stunned. "They always come," he whispered. Suddenly, a sound, growling, wet, deep, hungry. Lyra raised her hands. "Something's here." From the shadows, a creature crawled out. Black skin, long claws, no eyes. Its mouth opened sideways, full of sharp teeth. It charged. Ethan froze. Lyra jumped in front of him and tackled the beast. They hit the wall hard. She fought with fists and elbows, no blade. The creature clawed at her shoulder. Ethan grabbed a metal rod from the machine and ran forward. He smashed the creature's head from behind. It screeched, then fell still. Blood dripped from Lyra's arm. Ethan dropped the rod. "You okay?" She looked at him, breathing hard. "You saved me." He gave a weak smile. "We're even now." They sat beside the old machine, catching their breath. "I thought you hated humans," Ethan said. "I was taught to," she replied. "But now, I'm not so sure." He looked at her, really looked. Her sharp jaw, her glowing eyes, her calm under pressure. You're not like the others, he said. She looked at him. Neither are you. For the first time, there was no fear, no blame, just silence and something new. Trust. A few hours later, they found a hidden passage behind the machine, a narrow stairway carved into the stone. They climbed it, helping each other step by step. Finally, they reached the surface again. The sky was clear now, but the jungle was still waiting, and the watchers had seen everything. The poison and the cure. The air was hotter now. Ethan wiped sweat from his forehead as he and Lyra pushed through the thick jungle. The leaves were wide like blankets, and the vines dangled like ropes from above. Strange birds flew silently over them. The sky was turning green. We need to find the tower soon, Ethan said. The transmitter won't last forever. Lyra didn't answer. She walked ahead, fast and focused. Her injured leg was healing, but not fully. Her blade was back in her hand, recovered from the cave. She didn't trust the silence. Then she stopped suddenly. Ethan almost walked into her. What is it? She pointed ahead. That. A wide field stretched out before them, covered in tall grass and glowing mushrooms. A strange fog hovered over the ground. It smelled sweet. Too sweet. This place feels wrong, Lyra said. Ethan checked his scanner. Radiation's low, no toxins in the air. We can cross it. Lyra stared at the field. Nature lies. But she stepped forward anyway. Ethan followed close behind. They made it halfway before it happened. Lyra gasped and stumbled. Something small and fast flew out of the grass, bright green, insect-like, with glowing wings and a sharp stinger. It bit her neck and vanished before Ethan could react. Lyra dropped to one knee. Lyra! She clutched her throat. Her skin turned pale blue, then darker. Black veins spread from the bite. Her breathing slowed. It burns, she whispered. Inside, Ethan caught her before she fell completely. Her body was shaking. Her eyes fluttered. No, no, no. Stay with me, Ethan shouted. He laid her down gently on a flat rock and checked the scanner again. Toxin detected. Bloodstream compromised. Fatal within 1 hour. Ethan's hands shook. He remembered something. Back in the cave. Before the fall. He had seen drawings of plants. One had blue leaves and silver roots. It was marked with a glowing symbol. Life. He pulled out his memory chip and scrolled through the recorded image. That same plant was drawn again, next to the symbol for poison. The cure, he whispered. I know what I need. He looked at Lyra, who now lay still, her skin darkening. I'm coming back, he told her, and he ran. He ran through the jungle like a madman. The trees scratched his arms. The ground cut his feet. But he didn't care. He searched every bush, every patch of earth. Finally, he saw it. The plant, blue leaves, silver roots. It glowed faintly like it was alive. He ripped it from the ground and turned. Something growled. A large beast stood between him and the path back. Its skin was covered in black thorns. Its eyes were white and blind. But it sniffed. The air, tracking his scent, Ethan raised his only weapon, a piece of pipe from the wreck. The beast lunged. He dodged and swung. The pipe hit its jaw. It roared, claws slashing. Ethan rolled under its body and stabbed the sharp end of the pipe into its belly. The beast screamed and collapsed. Ethan didn't wait. He ran. When he returned, Lyra wasn't moving. Her chest rose and fell. Barely. Hitai crushed the plant's leaves and mixed them with water from his pack. Just like the drawings showed. He poured a little of the liquid onto the bite. Then he opened her mouth and gave her a few drops. Come on. Come on, he begged. Nothing. Then, her hand twitched. Her breathing grew louder. Her skin lightened. The black veins started fading. She opened her eyes. Ethan, she whispered. He laughed through his tears. You're back. She blinked slowly. You saved me. He nodded. You do the same. Lyra stared at him for a long time. No. she said. I wouldn't have. Not before today. They stayed there as the sun set. The tower was now visible in the far distance, a long needle rising above the trees. Lyra leaned on Ethan's shoulder. She was weak but healing. You went into the wild alone, she said, faced a beast. I had to, he replied. I couldn't lose you. She touched his hand gently. Then I am yours, Ethan, until we leave this cursed planet. And maybe longer. He smiled. For the first time since the crash, the jungle felt quiet, not safe but calm, like the planet was watching and approving. Echoes of a lost civilization. The jungle opened at last. Ethan and Lara stepped through the tall red trees into a massive clearing. At the center stood a stone structure, half temple, half machine. Vines wrapped its surface. Blue energy pulsed along its walls like slow lightning. Ethan stared in awe. This place is alive. Lyra's expression turned grim. No, it remembers. They walked toward the building carefully. The ground was covered with smooth tiles, cracked but not broken. Strange carvings ran along the floor, symbols of stars, planets, and people. Some of them looked human. How can this be? Ethan whispered. Humans never came here. This planet isn't even on the map. Lyra nodded. Then someone erased it. The entrance was open. No doors, no guards, only silence. Inside, the air was colder. Blue lights glowed from cracks in the walls. Stone pillars held up a high ceiling. Giant murals lined the chamber, paintings of creatures, cities, and wars. Everything was old but not dead. They moved slowly. This isn't a ruin, Ethan said. It's a memory. Lyra pointed to a tall statue in the center of the hall. It showed two figures standing together, one human, one alien, holding a burning star between them. Ethan stepped closer. That's us. Before she could answer, a voice echoed through the room. Visitors. You are not the first. They turned fast, weapons ready. From the shadows stepped a tall, thin machine, shaped like a person but made of metal and stone. Its eyes glowed white. I am the Echo, it said. Last keeper of the Pact Hall. Ethan lowered his rod. You're not here to kill us? I am not allowed, the Echo said. I was built to remember, not to harm. Lyra stepped forward. Who built this place? The Echo turned to the statue. Long ago, your kind stood together, human and Zira. You were one. Lyra froze. Zira. That was the name of my people before the wars. Ethan looked at her, surprised. The Echo continued. You came here together seeking knowledge. You made peace, but then others came. Others? Ethan asked. The Echo's tone darkened. The Watchers, the Sindar, the Destroyers. They erased the Pact, burned the sky. This place is all that's left. Lyra stared at the floor. Why are we here now? The Echo tilted its head. The tower you seek was built by your ancestors. It is not just a beacon. It is a key. It holds the proof of the past, what your enemies fear. Ethan stepped forward. We can show the galaxy. End the lies. But the Cinder have followed your signal, the Echo warned. They come now to silence you. Again. Lyra gripped her blade. Then we stop them. The Echo's eyes flickered. Take this. A panel opened in the floor, revealing a glowing crystal, bright blue and warm to the touch. This holds the last memory, the Echo said. Place it in the tower. The truth will awaken. Suddenly, a loud boom. The temple shook. Dust fell from the ceiling. Outside, a red light flashed through the sky. Ethan rushed to the doorway and looked up. A Cinder warship had arrived. It floated above the trees like a black knife. Smaller ships were dropping from it, fast and armed. They're landing, he said. They found us. Lyra turned to the Echo. We'll take the memory. We'll get to the tower. The Echo gave a small, if you do, Others will follow. The galaxy will remember. They ran. Back into the jungle, hearts racing, weapons ready. Ethan held the crystal close. It pulsed like a heartbeat. Lyra led the way, faster now, more focused than ever. They were no longer just surviving. They had a purpose. By sunset, they reached the base of the tower. It stood tall above the jungle, white and silver, reaching into the clouds. Lyra looked at it with awe. This is where everything ends. No, Ethan said. This is where everything begins. Behind them, in the distance, explosions. The cinder were burning the forest, coming closer. Ethan tightened his grip on the memory crystal. We go up. We finish this. The enemy above, the tower hummed. It was not made by human hands or alien claws, but something older. Its walls were silver, yet smooth like glass. Strange lights flowed through its edges like veins. As Ethan and Lyra entered, the air changed. Quieter, heavier, as if the tower was holding its breath. They climbed the spiral staircase inside, each step echoing with their fear and purpose. Ethan clutched the crystal, the ancient memory given by the echo. This crystal will show the truth, the real history. Lyra kept her blade ready. Then we must reach the top. Before they do. Suddenly, a deep sound. Not thunder. Engines. Outside, the sky cracked. A massive Sindar warship slowly descended, dark as the void. Its wings spread, like knives. Dozens of dropships rained from its belly, lighting up the jungle with fire. Ethan stared through a broken window. They brought an army. Lyra didn't flinch. Good, let them come. Alarms inside the tower lit up. The system recognized danger. Hostiles detected. Defense mode failed. Structural damage possible. Ethan cursed under his breath. We have no weapons strong enough. No soldiers. Just us. Then we hold the line, Lyra said. They reached the top. The control room was a circle of light. In its center stood a pedestal, shaped to hold the memory crystal. The entire room pulsed like a heartbeat waiting for its next breath. Ethan approached it slowly. This is it. But before he could insert the crystal, a shot blasted through the ceiling. He flew backward, crashing into the wall. Lyra spun and blocked the next blast with her blade. From the hole above, a figure floated down, tall, armored in black. 4 glowing red eyes. The Cinder Captain, the same monster who had spoken through the ruined vault's hologram. I warned you, the captain said, landing gently. You brought the signal. We came to collect. Ethan groaned as he stood up. You're not taking this tower, the captain laughed. You are broken, weak, 2 dying animals pretending to matter. Lyra stepped in front of Ethan. Maybe. But even cornered animals bite. She rushed him. Their weapons clashed, blade and plasma. The room shook with every strike. Sparks flew. The tower cried out in pain. Ethan crawled toward the pedestal, still holding the memory crystal. He reached for it. The captain turned sharply and blasted Ethan in the side. His body slammed against the wall again. The crystal rolled to the edge. Lyra screamed. She tackled the captain, pinning him, stabbing wildly. He roared and threw her across the room. She hit the ground hard. Outside the tower, Sindar dropships began to land. Soldiers spread out, climbing the tower walls like insects. Ethan coughed, struggling to move. He saw Lyra barely breathing. Blood ran from her mouth, then he saw the crystal, teetering at the edge of the platform. No, he whispered. Not like this. He pulled himself up, one slow movement at a time. The captain walked toward him now, step by step. Calm, cruel. You will not change history, he said. Ethan looked up, his body shaking. I don't have to. Then, he kicked the crystal. Not off the tower, but into the pedestal. The tower lit up. Bright blue light exploded from the pedestal, rising through the walls up into the sky like a signal to the stars. The Cinder captain screamed, "No!" He fired his weapon. But the tower's defenses came alive. A wave of pure energy blasted out in all directions, sweeping through the Sindar troops below, shorting their tech, shutting down their weapons, knocking them to the ground like broken dolls. The captain fell to his knees, his armor sparking. Ethan limped over to Lyra, helping her sit up. The memory had been released, and now the truth was free. Above them, in the sky, new ships arrived. Not Cinder, human ships, large, powerful, flying in formation with allied alien vessels. A fleet, drawn by the signal, carrying peacekeepers, historians, and warriors from both sides. They had heard the truth, and they came. The Sindar captain looked up in disbelief. "Impossible," Lyra stood, leaning on Ethan. "No, just late." A human dropship landed nearby. Soldiers ran to secure the area. A medic rushed over. "Are you two the survivors?" Ethan nodded. "We're the messengers." The soldier looked at the glowing tower. "You didn't just survive. You woke the galaxy. Ours." Later, Ethan sat beside Lyra in a clean medical bay aboard a human cruiser. Her wounds were healing. His ribs were wrapped. Both were quiet. Outside the window, the stars looked different now. Less lonely. He turned to her. "You think this changes anything?" She looked at him and gave the smallest smile. "It already has. You changed me." He reached for her hand. She didn't pull away. Together they watched the Sindar ship disappear into the distance, retreating, broken. They had come as enemies. Now they stood together as the voice of truth. "Together we survived." The stars outside the window looked calm, but inside Ethan's chest a storm still raged. The war wasn't over. The Cinder hadn't been destroyed. The galaxy hadn't suddenly turned peaceful. But something had changed. Something no weapon or fleet had ever achieved. Truth. Ethan sat at the edge of a medical bed aboard the human starship Vigilant Light. His ribs were wrapped tight, his body bruised. Yet none of that pain compared to the thought of losing Lyra. Again. He looked across the room. She lay there still, breathing slow but steady. Her wounds were healing. Her skin, once pale and weak from poison and injury, now glowed with soft, blue warmth under the lights. He leaned back and whispered to himself, "You made it, Lyra. We both did." 12 hours earlier, after the tower pulse, the memory beacon had blasted the truth into deep space. Images, sounds, voices from thousands of years ago. Human and alien once stood side by side. They were allies, explorers, and protectors of peace. And someone, some powerful group, erased all of it. The Sindar had tried to silence it again, but they failed. As the Sindar captain lay broken at the foot of the tower, his armor sparking, he spoke one last warning. "This doesn't matter. The galaxy won't care. Fear always wins." Ethan knelt beside him and replied, "Maybe, but not today." The Sindar ship lifted off and vanished into the sky, fleeing, defeated. A human rescue team arrived minutes later. Soldiers secured the tower. Medics rushed to stabilize Lyra. Engineers worked to copy and transmit the memory again and again. No one asked who Ethan was. No one questioned why a human and an alien woman fought together. Because when the signal was decoded, everyone saw the truth, and they saw who delivered it. Now, aboard the cruiser, Lyra's eyes fluttered open. She blinked slowly, adjusting to the soft white light. For a second she looked confused. Then she saw him. "Ethan," she whispered. He was beside her in seconds. "You're okay. You're safe." She reached for his hand, weak but steady. "Did it work?" He nodded. The whole galaxy saw. Humans, aliens, everyone. Lyra let out a long breath. "Then we did it." Later that day, a group of officers called them into a briefing room. It wasn't large, just a table, a screen, and 3 people waiting. 1 human commander, 1 Ziran historian, and a peace envoy. The commander stood. Ethan Voss, Lyra of Zira. You're both being awarded for what you've done, but more than that, we need your help. Ethan glanced at Lyra, who looked suspicious. Help with what? He asked. The Ziran historian spoke next. The signal revealed ancient cities, lost archives. We want to find them, protect them. Lyra crossed her arms. And keep them out of Cinder hands. The peace envoy nodded. Exactly. Ethan frowned. You want us to go back out there? The commander gave a small smile. You survived the forest, the crash, the tower together. Who better? They were given a choice. Stay, rest, rebuild, fade into the background, or go, lead the next mission, together, and uncover the rest of the forgotten truth. They didn't answer right away. That night, Ethan and Lyra stood on the observation deck, watching a distant nebula. Back into the fire? Ethan asked. Lyra leaned against the railing beside him. That's where we met. He smiled. And where we almost died. But we didn't, she said softly. They were quiet for a long moment. Then Ethan said, If we go, it's dangerous. Lyra looked at him with those glowing eyes. Then we face it together. 2 months later, their new ship was smaller, faster, and named the Unity. It flew under no single flag. It had human and alien tech, a mixed crew, a mission no one else had tried before. Find the hidden pieces of the past and protect them from those who wanted to bury it forever. Lyra was now more than a warrior. She was a guide, a voice, and a symbol to her people that not all humans were enemies. Ethan was more than an engineer. He was a witness to a truth that couldn't be silenced and someone willing to risk everything to protect it. They didn't always agree. They still argued. But now, they trusted. They cared. And in moments of silence, when the stars drifted by, and danger felt far away, Lyra would lean close and whisper, You're the only human I'd want by my side. And Ethan would reply, You're the only alien I'd crash into a death world with. Final log. Captain Ethan Voss. We didn't just survive that planet. We survived each other. That matters more than I can explain. They tried to erase the past. We made sure it screamed back into the sky. Now we carry the truth together. And if anyone tries to silence it again, we'll be waiting. The end.